Today's topic is: what's your biggest "I could have gotten laid and blew it" moment? Twice women have invited me in for coffee after a date in the early hours of the morning. Twice I have declined because I had work the next day. I know. It happened to me twice, two different ladies. The first asked to use my bathroom when we walked back to my dorm. I waited outside the dorm and she just looked at me weird when she was done and leaving. The second time I gave this bartender my number and told her to call me if she ever wanted to talk. She called me that night and asked what I was doing. I told her I was sleeping and I'd be happy to talk to her in the morning. She never called again. When I was 18 I was hanging out with a girl playing Skyrim and she kept mentioning the swords and how she wondered if she was a good sword swallower. She kept saying she could take the bigger ones down her throat. I had no fucking idea what was going on. Watching a movie at her house in college in her room. Both laying on bed on our sides facing one another, with laptop between us by our feet. She mentions she needs to switch sides and rolls into the little spoon position and puts her butt against my crotch. Grinds into me. I said, "Oh, no worries, I can switch too," and moved to the other side and kept watching the movie. After it was over and I was headed home I was like, "You fucking idiot." Had a girl come over to watch a movie. She said it was getting late and I told her she could crash at my place and I'd sleep in the other room. She said it's okay, we can share the bed. So, I said okay, I'll put a pillow between us so you don't have to feel uncomfortable. She said I don't need to do that. I slept facing away from her. She told me a few days later that I didn't catch on to that she was trying to sleep with me. Should have known she wasn't actually interested in coming over to watch Star Wars. Work had a single change room for after shift, so you had to wait your turn. This absolutely stunning coworker and I finished at the same time and I said she could go first. She dragged me in and insisted we change at the same time. I still can't believe I missed that one. In high school this girl I had a crush on for I don't know how long. Started going to the gym I went to. I lived on my own at 16 in a single wide my dad owned, I just paid power and water. After a couple months she began asking for tips etc. We would work out together a lot. And one night she had a fight with her family and asked to stay the night with me. Super innocent me said yeah sure. I made popcorn, we watched Swamp People on the TV, she was constantly pinching me or hitting me with a pillow. Then she started purpling me. I then began saying that, "It's not fair, I can't do it back." She hit me with, "I'd love it if you do it back," once again super innocent me never caught it. Eventually we got tired and I offered my bed then crashed on the couch where she insisted we could sleep together, but I wanted to be impressive, and so me sleeping on the couch seemed like the manly choice. I still feel like a dumbass to this day. My crush freshman year of college, she was 2 years older. Wiser and worldly. She worked at the front desk of the dorm, and I would chat with her late at night, we would talk sometimes for hours. She called my room and invited me to her party. Huge house party, no one needed an invite but I got one. And about midnight she finds me and grabs my hand and asks if I can stay and help clean up. And cleaning up doesn't sound awesome so I skip out before the party is over. She graduated at the end of the next school year. Graduation night I ran into her and she gave me the biggest hug. And then she tells me she has nowhere to sleep, she's already packed up and is moving to Chicago the next morning. I've already promised my sofa to a friend so I don't offer her a place to stay. She gives one more hug and we say goodbye. It was a year later that it all clicked. I didn't need to offer the sofa, and my buddy didn't even crash there. And it was the second time I'd turned her down. She's happily married in Texas now, or was a decade ago when I looked, and life turned out fine for me too. Girl was a model/TV series lead. I didn't think I had a chance. The next day my friends told me she was very interested. I thought she was just being friendly. I moved the following week. She has 2 kids now. Shoot your shot, fellas. I don't drink anymore, and it's reasons like this. I had a girl ask me if I had a house we can go to after the bar. I told her in the most condescending asshole way, no, I live in a fucking sewer. When you think of sewers you think of this guy right here. She quietly walked away and left with another dude. Broke up with my ex, and my very hot friend straight up asked me to be friends with benefits. I was so recently heartbroken that I said no. I kick myself whenever I think about it. Girl I had a big crush on in high school. We meet up a decade later, she's gone through a recent divorce. We're hanging out, and she casually mentions, I got married so soon out of high school, I never really got the opportunity to have any fun. I politely listen, agree, finish my wine, and wish her good night. It wasn't until a week later, waiting for my flight back to school, that she texted me, I was really hoping to have some fun with you. I'm sorry if you weren't interested. It hits me like a sack of bricks. What an idiot I was. I damn near skipped my flight, ready to go back to meet her. Like, I was so crazy about this girl, I couldn't think straight. By the time I was back in town the next time, she was dating someone. I was an intern at a firm, and this attorney I had met and had a crush on asked if I wanted to mess around. I really wanted to, but was so scared of getting caught, LMAO. I used to be friends with a girl who lived in my village, and she was telling me one day about how she had never walked a dog because her parents wouldn't let her have one. I offered to let her walk my dog with me, and I even let her hold the lead, which was hilarious. My dog pulled so hard that she went flying. Afterwards, I walked her home and she invited me in, noting that her parents weren't home. At the time, my dumb ass was only thinking, I have to take the dog home. A few days later, she spelled out what she had been implying. Did not get another chance. To be fair, looking back on it now, I was totally right to prioritize my dog's welfare. Having her roam a stranger's house is one thing, but imagine if her parents had come home and found a dog. I was an awkward shy introvert with a friendly extroverted sister who had friends come for sleepovers on many occasions. One of them once ignored the other girls to follow me around, chatting me up, talking, laughing at my jokes, bringing me drinks, etc. etc. The poor girls sat next to my PC watching 17-year-old me play Counter-Strike and Dota, chatting away staring at me until she gave up around 1 a.m. and went to bed. I didn't even realize I blew it until years later when I told the story to a girl I was dating. In high school, this girl in the year above me had been flirty and affectionate with me for months. She was really pretty too. I don't know why I acted so ambivalent about it. One day, our class merges with her class for some reason and we're watching a movie. She's getting really close to me. Playfully steals my flip phone and saves her phone number into my contacts. My internal reaction was, why would I need to call you? We don't have classes together, you're not friends with any of my friends, there's nothing we really need from each other. Why did you give me this number? She got bored with my cluelessness, obviously. It wasn't until about 10 years later that it occurred to me, maybe she liked you. I went to a party, was too drunk to drive home. The girl who threw the party saw me sleeping on the floor and asked if I wanted to sleep in the bed with her, which I did, thinking no way she meant it like that. A couple of years later asked why I never made a move. Seen the finest cutest nurse in a hospital cafe. I honestly thought she was out of my league, but I decided to shoot my shot anyway. I approached her and literally said, "Never mind, my bad," and she shrugged her shoulders and said, "I really wish you would have just said it," and walked off. I tried to give it another shot and she ignored me. Needless to say, I never hesitated again. I met a girl on Tinder and took her out to dinner on a weekday. She kept asking me what time I needed to be up in the morning for work, how long it took me to get there, things like that. I thought she was just interested in my life or being polite and didn't want the date to run too late. I lived super close to where we went to eat, so I walked there. She offered me a ride home and I politely declined. It wasn't until I walked in my front door that I realized. Partying in a hotel club. Asked a girl if she wanted to go to bed. She said yes. We walked to her room and she stood there looking at me. I said, "Okay, good night," and turned to walk out. She shouldered me aside and went back to the party. My boy hooked up with me later. Years later I realized my mistake. During university I worked at a nightclub. The trip home was insanely long, so I'd just take a book with me. Multiple co-workers and girls from my school offered to have me sleep over their place. Not talking dozens, but like half a dozen. Which is a lot, and you'd think I'd smarten up. In college I had a college playmate, old playboy thing, spend the night in my loft bed. I was really interested in this other woman, so I rolled over and told her I had to work in the morning. The next day, she invited me over for a sleepover. I went, because she was hot, but as we got in bed I started thinking of this other woman again. I knew if I slept with this playmate my chances with the other would be over. So I asked if she wanted to watch some BattleBots, and then I fake slept for at least an hour as she was lying next to me with the lights on and bra and panties. The next day I called the other woman and told her everything. We've been married for 20 years and have a beautiful child. I texted my friend that I was in the area. She said, "Come over and pick me up so we can go to the mall. My parents aren't home." I replied, "I'm getting my car fixed." I blew it, lol. Another incident with a different friend. I was visiting my guy friend at a different university and sent a snapshot to this one female friend that I'm at her university. She sent back a Snapchat, "Where are you on campus? Come to my apartment at this address with the gate code." I replied saying, "I already left campus." She replied to my message 2 hours later before I actually left. I was at a party at this huge old house in the countryside. I only know a few of the people at the party, mostly the host whose family owns the place. This really my cup of tea kind of girl had a beef with her obnoxious older sister, and I managed to shut her up pretty good when they were arguing about some BS. Very late, or let's say early, in the night when the party is dying and everybody is going to sleep, the girl basically tells me I should join her as she goes to bed. I tell her I need to take a leak, which is true. I finished my drink and thanked my good fortune. I can't find her. I look for her from room to room, and everywhere there's just drunk people sleeping who are annoyed or bothered. After about 15 minutes I gave up. She wasn't there in the morning when I finally woke up, and I never met her again. In college, I went over to a girl's place to study. She opened the door already a little bit tipsy and offered me a drink. After we studied for a while, we put on a movie and kept drinking. After the movie, she invited me up to her room and we laid in her bed for a while. I'd recently confided in her that I didn't have a lot of sexual experience, so she gave me some sex tips and showed me how to caress her tits. Then we cuddled for a while. She gave me a kiss on the cheek at one point, and she eventually fell asleep. I was a lot more sober than she was, so I just drove myself home. In my defense, we genuinely did need to study, and she had just started dating another guy, so I really didn't think she was looking for sex. I also dismissed the idea given how drunk she was, and I didn't want to take advantage of her. I still think about that kiss on the cheek though. It was the softest, sweetest kiss I've ever received. Freshman year of college. Still a virgin and just cripplingly awkward. An absolute stunner of a woman in my dorm, spent the entire semester aggressively flirting with me. We even dated briefly. Never slept with her. Even though I knew I could, I think I just kept letting my own awkwardness and self-loathing get in the way. Top 3 biggest airballs of my life. I dropped out of that uni at the end of the year and never spoke to her again. She's happily married with kids now and I think of her fondly. Early 20s. A girl I liked a lot. Told me to stop by after seeing my friend who lived nearby, at 10 p.m. on a Tuesday. Hung out for a couple hours and then she says, "I have to go to bed now. You can stay the night if you want," so I say, "Sure, I can sleep on your couch." She says, "Okay," turns to walk down the hall to her bedroom and says over her shoulder, "You can always join me in my bed. It's big, and I'm really good." My brain freezes at what I just heard, so I lay back on the couch and think, did she just say what I think she said? So I close my eyes for a minute so as not to seem too eager, and say to myself, I'll go to her room in about 5 to 10 minutes. Now, I did not mention it but I was super stoned and it was 1 a.m. Next thing I know, she's waking me up saying it is 7:30 a.m. and she has to go to work. Yes, my dumb, stoned, idiot ass fell into a deep sleep. Like I was still halfway laying back on the couch with my feet on the floor, some of the best rest I had in a while. That couch was comfy. I was at a bar with some friends in university. There had been a creepy guy that had been sniffing around the girls in our group, but I chased him off. Later in the night I saw him dancing with a different girl on the dance floor. I caught her eye and she mouthed, "Help me." So I walked over, cut in between them, walked her to the coat check, and then home. She invited me in for coffee. I told her I was good, it was too late for coffee. I later realized she may have not meant coffee. I'm an idiot. We were both 18 and she came to spend a few days at my place while my family was away. We were already close friends and hugged a lot. Come night time, we watch a movie on the couch like against each other, being platonically physical, like her head on my laps, tickles, that kind of flirty things. We go to bed, she lays down back to me. After a minute she took my hand and brought me back closer to her and placed my arm around her. My dumb self didn't think she was trying anything because I was so damn insecure at that time, and not in a million years would I have thought that I had a shot with her. A few days later she dropped something like, "Did you ever spend the night with someone and nothing happened, but you wish it did?" And my dumb self was like, "No, I don't think so." Was fooling around with this girl in college in my dorm. When we started getting really into it, I got a knock on my door. It was her tipsy friend who was at the door without a shirt on. Just a bra and some shorts. She explained how the guy she wanted to hook up with, dude, was right down the hall, wasn't into her and she didn't know what to do. I kinda just let them gossip for a bit without intervening, and I always wish I would have tried to take things in another direction.